What if I told you that the strongest way to be is to have absolutely no defense at all? It sounds completely backwards, I know, but it's a radical idea from the philosopher Alan Watts. And today we're going to dive into the surprising, incredible power that comes from letting go of the need to protect ourselves. So, let's just start with this question. I want you to really let it sink in for a moment. Just imagine it. What would your life actually feel like if you just dropped the constant need to justify, to explain, or to protect yourself from what other people say or think? All right, first things first, let's look at why we even do this. This constant, honestly exhausting habit of defending ourselves. It's a trap. And the crazy part is, it's a trap we build for ourselves. Alan Watts tells this little story about a woman who was just completely worn out by this habit. Think about it. Every single choice she made, from what she ate for breakfast to the job she took, had to be justified in front of this invisible jury she carried around in her head. She was constantly putting herself on trial, even when nobody was accusing her of anything. And here is the core paradox of the whole thing. Every single time you rush to defend yourself, you're basically sending a message to your own brain that there is a fragile, vulnerable you that can be hurt by words. You end up making the very weakness you're trying to protect even stronger. So, okay, if being defensive is a trap, what's the way out? Well, Watts gives us this beautiful and really powerful metaphor to kind of guide us. Just think about this for a second. Water never fights a rock. It doesn't get into an argument with it. It just yields. It adapts. It flows around it. And by doing that, by not resisting, it eventually shapes the entire landscape. The softest thing in the world overcomes the hardest. That's real strength. Or hey, here's another way to look at it. Are clouds a threat to the sky? Do storms actually wound the sky? Of course not. The sky is just the space where all the weather happens, but the sky itself remains untouched. When you stop defending, you become that vast open space. So, what is actually happening when we feel attacked? According to Watts, we're often getting the entire situation completely wrong, right from the very beginning. Now, this is a huge shift in perspective, so listen closely. When someone criticizes you, they are almost always telling you about themselves. That person calling you lazy, they're often terrified of their own stillness. The person attacking your choices, they are very frequently questioning their own. It's not about you, it's a projection of them. See, an attack needs a solid wall to have any impact at all. It's like this. You throw a ball at a brick wall. It bounces back hard, right? But what if you throw that same ball into empty space? Its energy just fizzles out. It has nothing to hit. When you refuse to be that wall, the attack has nowhere to land. It becomes completely powerless. Now, at this point, a really logical question usually comes up. If we stop defending ourselves, aren't we just letting people walk all over us? And this is such an important point to clarify. Watts makes a crucial distinction here. Non-defense is not, and I repeat, not the same as being a passive doormat. There is a world of difference. So, on one hand, you have the reactor. The reactor acts from a place of fear, of wounded pride, trying to protect their ego. But on the other hand, you have the warrior. The warrior responds from a place of clarity. Let's take a simple example. Someone cuts you off in traffic. The reactor lays on the horn, shouts, gets all worked up. The warrior, they just see the situation. They note the danger, and they adjust their driving. They act with wisdom, not with ego. This old Zen story just captures it perfectly. The master wasn't defending himself when they accused him, right? But he also wasn't puffing himself up with pride when they apologized. He was totally detached from both their blame and their praise. He just did what the situation required in that moment, because he knew that what he truly was could not be touched by their opinions anyway. Okay, so all of this is building to the deepest, most profound reason for this whole idea of non-defense. And getting this next part, well, it can change everything. The entire reason we get defensive, the ego trap, the need for validation, the fear of criticism, all of it stems from one single fundamental illusion. We have mistaken our own identity. You see, we think we're the small s self. This collection of memories and roles and opinions and preferences. That is the self that can be insulted. That's the self that can be threatened and needs defending. But our true nature, according to Watts, is the large S self. The pure awareness, the silent observer that is simply watching all the thoughts and feelings that just pass on by. And this is the ultimate realization. The mental image that people have of you, that's not you. The story you tell yourself about you, that's not you either. The real you is the space in which all those stories appear. And that awareness, just like the sky, cannot be attacked, it cannot be wounded, and it needs zero defense. It is completely, totally untouchable. So I'll just leave you with this to take with you. The next time you feel that familiar, hot urge to jump in, to explain, to justify yourself, just for a second, pause and ask yourself, who or what am I actually trying to protect right now? A fragile idea or the vast, untouchable truth of who I really am?